Welcome back to the Be a Man podcast, where we encourage men to be better men. I appreciate you joining me today for another podcast episode, another video episode. I hope you are enjoying them. Before we go any further, please like, subscribe, do all those fun things online. Leave a review. I love reading the messages. Go ahead and leave a 5-star or whatever you think it deserves on the podcast platforms. We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods, Amazon Podcasts, Google Podcasts, you name it, I'm probably there. YouTube, of course. And check out the social media sites, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Getter, if you're on there, if you so choose. TikTok, I try to post helpful videos, little clips of some of the interviews on there as well. And as always, Tuesdays, you have me and hopefully a midweek word to encourage you in your journey, in your walk. And on Thursdays, a helpful interview. I hope you enjoyed last week's with Troy and Restoring Manhood. It was an excellent conversation. I really enjoyed getting to know Troy, and hopefully we can do something again and dive into some more specific issues that are common to men and some things we're seeing in society today. This week, I think it is going to be an interview with someone from Canada who runs a bear hunting lodge up there, and I think you're really going to enjoy that. There were a few technical difficulties as he is in the middle of the woods, so there was some interruptions at times, but I think it's going to be okay. I think most of it turned out all right, but I want to give you the heads up just in case anything comes up, or if you'd like to be on the podcast or on a video, please shoot me a message. I'd love to have you. I'm sure that you have something that would encourage men in their journeys, or you have some specialty. Maybe you have a particular field that you're really good at. Come on, let's talk about it. Let's have a conversation. I'm recording more. So up to this year, we're going to hit some finances. We're going to hit marriage. We're going to hit manhood and some more specifics that go along with that. And so I hope you're enjoying it. I'm glad you're here for this journey, and I hope it's encouraging to you. And if you have some ideas for how we can better encourage others, and I've been kind of trying to think through some of those things as well, as I've been battling sickness, man, the last 3 weeks or so, and just flu and fever and all those fun things, and just trying to get over all that and trying to get my head back right, my workout back, routine back going, all those types of things, and just getting caught up still. And it's Little League season, so I'm starting to be Little League season. We're jumping into it, so I'm starting to plan and get coaches and all that fun stuff that goes into that. It's a lot of fun, but it's also a lot of work. So just been busy. So if you have some ideas, shoot them at me. I'd love to hear them. I'd love to talk with you about them. And I'm watching this week, and there's just so many things going on in our world. Let's start with sports. It's become so clicks and media and money driven. It's just frustrating to kind of just watch it. I mean, the NBA All-Star game, I remember as a kid, and I'm not super old, but I remember seeing the later years of Bird, the prime years of Jordan, the early years of LeBron, Kobe, Shaq, some of these guys that was just, I can remember, not wanting to watch anything else but that All-Star game, because it was the best of the best, going all out playing. And you knew if Jordan played, the other guys were going to play hard too. So you just saw all these guys. I was a big Reggie Miller fan too. So, you have all these guys playing. I couldn't even watch. Like, it's just so sad what it's become. I think of the Pro Bowl with football, this like flag deal. And I understand not wanting to get hurt and all those things. It just, something is lacking. Something's missing. And a lot of it is what we talk about here. It's just men needing that challenge. They're driven by something else, and a lot of times that thing is money. And it's sad to see this devaluation of competition, or that drive to be better that we've seen for so many years. And it's just lacking, and it's just disappointing to watch. And to be quite honest, I watched a little bit of college basketball, but I don't watch any NBA anymore. I don't hardly watch any NFL at much anymore. Every once in a while, I'll catch a Colts or Bears game, but I'll watch college football. I love college football. It still seems to be something there that, guys are, striving to be better. And I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. As you're listening, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There's just something missing. It's disappointing. But we press on. A lot of things going on in the world. I'm just reminded of how many poor leaders there are in the world, especially at some of those top positions in the world. They're just so weak and it's just frustrating. And then, you'll see other guys who, I've talked about Ron DeSantis before. I don't like everything about him, but when he's willing to stand up for what he knows is right, and people are attacking him left and right, it takes a special person to be in that role. And he's just like, I don't care. We're not doing this whole pushing this agenda or that agenda or this woke mob or that woke mob. We're not doing any of it. We're going to protect our kids. We're going to protect people here and give them the freedom to make the choices they need to make. And I respect that. We need more leaders like that in our society. And I know listeners may agree with him. They may not. They may like him. They may not. And that's okay. But you can't deny he is standing on his word. And he has what little people have today, and that's a backbone. And it is encouraging to see that. But enough with that. That's just a few cultural, worldly things. If you are watching other world events with Russia and all that, I would say prepare your family, get them ready, prepare as far as having food, having different things ready for your family. And you should be doing this anyways. You don't know when something may happen. You don't know when your family might get sick. You don't know when you might get hit with a snowstorm, tornado, whatever it may be. You should be having a few supplies, and you could call me a prepper or whatever, and that's okay. But you should have a few supplies to take care of your family if the worst happens. I think of the whole deal in Ohio. There's only so much you could have done. But what you could do is have a family plan for how we're going to get out of here if we need to, or we're going to have extra water because we can't drink out of the faucet, even though they said it was okay. I'm not drinking that water. You saw the pictures. I'm not drinking that. You need to have food ready. You need to have, fuel sources if you can. I know in cities that's harder to do, but more rural, it's a little easier to have some of those things and do what you can afford. Make one step to, find ways that you can have or just have a game plan for your family. Let's say a tornado's coming. Does your family know what to do, especially if you're not there? In our house, I have 2 plans that I've written up so that my oldest or some of my kids, they know if, I'm not here or mom is out or maybe we're whatever, she knows where to get the other ones or siblings to the safe spot. Like, we have those plans in place if something were to happen, because I want to be there, but there may be times where I can't, or we lose cell service or whatever. Have a plan for how to protect and provide and take care of your family if you're there or if you're not there. I don't know what may happen to me tomorrow or tonight for that matter. But what I do know is that they can be better prepared because of my planning and hopefully protecting them in that way for future events. So come up with a plan, have it in place, and start small. And if you need any help or any guidance, shoot me a message on Instagram, Twitter. Those are probably the 2 best to ask me, and I would love to help guide you through that. It doesn't have to be complicated. It can be pretty simple, and it can be pretty easy for you as you make those plans for your family. But with that, let's dive into our midweek word, and it's going to be a quicker one. Again, busy. So I think I have a meeting every night this week. So just busy at times, and that's how it goes. But I want to encourage you, something I was reading in 1 Thessalonians 4. And if you follow Pursuit of Manliness with Jared, please go listen to him as well. Just search for this. He explains this verse much better and much in a more lengthy way. And he's built a whole program, a whole mindset around these verses. But I just wanted to throw it out to you because I was reading it the other day and it's been on my mind. It's 1 Thessalonians 4, 9 through, I believe, 13, 12 or 13. Let me see here. Yeah, no, let's go 12. So 1 Thessalonians 4, 9 through 12, it says, "Now concerning brotherly love, you have no need for anyone to write to you, for you yourselves have been taught by God to love one another. For that indeed is what you are doing to all the brothers throughout Macedonia. But we urge you, brothers, to do this more and more, and to aspire to live quietly, and to mind your own affairs, and to work with your hands as we instructed you, so that you may walk properly before outsiders and be dependent on no one." All right, so what are these verses talking about? Well, as persecution was rising during that first century church, the Christians became more and more aware that their reputations needed to be blameless and above reproach. So those are instructions for elders and pastors in the Bible, and Titus and 1 Timothy, to be above reproach and blameless before outsiders. Now, does that mean we just, we get stepped all over and all that? No, but it does mean we strive to have a good reputation, be a person of character, of integrity, and that's how they know us, by those actions. And these verses are talking a lot in how to deal with other people and how to live with them, even though they may be the very ones who are persecuting us, especially those who were in that early church. So let's start with the first point, in verse 9 and 10. "Now concerning brotherly love, you have no need for anyone to write to you, for you yourselves have been taught by God to love one another." Now, love has many different meanings in the scriptures. In English it does too. I can say I love ice cream, but that's different than I love my wife or I love my kids, right? We use that word in different ways, but in Greek, in the original language that the New Testament was written, there are actual different words for love. And in particular, to love one another, it doesn't mean I'm going to love them necessarily the same way I love my wife or the same way I love my kids, but I'm going to love them in a way that shows respect, that shows that I care about them, that I want them ultimately to see Jesus, to see the gospel. I want to bridge that gap so I can build a relationship in order to have a gospel conversation with them, because ultimately I want them to come to saving faith in Jesus, but I can't do that if I'm not loving to them or if I'm not trying to walk in a proper way with them. Now, second, in verse 11, he says, aspire to live quietly. In the New American Standard, it actually says to lead a quiet life. And there's many ways you can take that particular verse. And for me, when I think about this, and not just for me, but when I read it in its context, I think about those in that early church. I can't help but think that when you live a quiet life, does that mean you never talk? No. Does that mean you never have, you're never involved in community activities or any of those things? No, that's not what it's talking about. But it's not drawing extra attention to yourself. It's not making it all about you. It's not that boisterous person or that neighbor that they're causing a ruckus. They're causing, or throwing a fit about any little thing that's going on. Or if they're home, they're home because they don't necessarily live a quiet life. Now, maybe they're the town gossip, or maybe they're doing this or that, or whatever it may be. He's saying do the opposite. Live a quiet life. And number 3, and to mind your own affairs. To mind your own affairs. The King James says, do your own business. It's talking about taking care of yourself, your family, doing what you need to do for you. A lot of people, they try to get in other people's business, don't they? And you know what I mean. They try to make a mess of other people's lives, and they try to tell them to do this or that. But this verse is telling us, mind your own affairs. Deal with what you need to deal with. Deal with your job. Deal with your family. Deal with, what you're responsible for, especially as a man. Deal with what you're responsible for. Number 3, to work with your hands as we instructed you. Work hard. Work with our hands. Back in Genesis, one of the first things that God told Adam to do was to take care to work. And this was before the fall. And even after the fall, it wasn't just that he had to work, it was going to be hard. And men were created to work hard. Men were created to work with our hands and to provide. And that's what we're called to do as men. And I hope you're taking on that. And if you're not, you need to get off your butt and do it. A lot of times we need a kick in the pants. There's no easy way to put it. If you're lazy, you need to kick yourself in the butt and get to work. And then he says in verse 12, so that you may walk properly before outsiders and be dependent on no one. Walking properly, that above reproach, that blameless, that high character integrity. I cannot stress how important it is to have character. At some point, someone's going to say something about you. Someone's going to accuse you of something. Someone's going to blame you for something. And if your character is such that it can't back up your word, it doesn't matter if you did it or not. People aren't going to believe you. But if you are known as somebody who has a high character, someone who tells the truth, someone of integrity, who is trustworthy, they're going to second guess that person making those claims. I've had it happen in my own life, and I've seen it happen in a lot of people's lives. Character integrity is of utmost importance. Don't let anything slip in that will cause you to slip up, I guess. I heard a picture the other day, an illustration. A boat, I think it's Joel Beakey, maybe who said something like this. I'm probably going to butcher it, but I hope it makes sense. You see, a boat is okay when it's on water. It's meant to float. It's supposed to float. It's fine. It's a boat. That's what it's meant to do. But if a boat starts taking on water, a little bit's okay. But if you don't do something about that water that it's taking in, what's going to happen? The boat's going to keep filling up, and you're going to have a real problem on your hands. The boat's going to start sinking, and it's going to sink and sink and sink. This is how I sometimes view character and integrity. If we let one little thing, maybe somebody's trying to gossip to us, and we start listening, and we don't shut it down right away, it's a crack in our character. If we tell, one little white lie to somebody, even if it's a kid, it's a crack in our character. If we are told something in confidence and then we go share it with someone else because we either forgot or for whatever reason, it's a crack in the character. We're taking on more water. We have to stand firm as men. We have to hold the ground. We must stand firm as men. Guys, I cannot stress enough how important it is that you stand firm in your character and integrity. Love others. Aspire to live a quiet life. Mind your own affairs. Work hard so that you may walk properly before outsiders and be dependent on no one. That's the challenge. I hope it encourages you for this week. Go out there, make a difference, be a godly man. No one may ever know your name, but you are making a difference by standing on what's right and doing what's right. Be encouraged, men. You're in the fight. We're in the fight together. Keep going. Keep pressing on. I hope this encouraged you to be a better man. I hope that you have a great rest of your week. I'll see you back on Thursday for a special episode. And if anything comes up, feel free to shoot me a message, I'd love to hear from it. Now go and be a better man this week.